This week, we have an interview coming directly from Davos to explain how a major U.S. bank is going to be utilizing Hedera. Rob Allen, one of the Hedera Governing Council member representatives, is back to take your questions in Shark Bites. We also have more credence to the potential of a U.S. strategic crypto reserve that could include HBAR. Welcome back. I'm Brandon, the HBAR Bull, here once again to bring you the latest in the Hedera ecosystem. But as always, none of this is financial advice. Use it for entertainment or educational purposes only. So this past week, I had an interview with All In Crypto, and we were talking about how big the things that are being built on Hedera are, how big some of the stories around Hedera are, but a lot of times it flies under the radar. But as Hedera becomes more recognized in the crypto space, people are going to dive down these rabbit holes and realize everything that's happening. One of the examples of something that's absolutely huge that's happening in our space that kind of flew under the radar this week was something that came out of one of our favorite builders on Hedera, and that's Dropp. I had the CEO from Dropp. He was calling in from Davos to explain to us exactly what's happening. Sushil, welcome back. That's a heck of a view you have behind you.
That is Davos right there. It is beautiful. It's really beautiful here today. And it snowed a little, not a lot, but it's beautiful today. Yeah.
It looks amazing, Sushil. But can you just, before we get into the news of the day, which I really want to get into what Dropp is doing, I'm just curious how things are going there in general there at Davos.
Listen, Davos, this is my fourth time, so I've been very fortunate to be here multiple times. It's always electrifying. I mean, it's like, imagine the energy we have in New York City, in Manhattan, except it's in a very beautiful site like Davos. It's very energetic. And this year has been, I think people are very optimistic in almost every sector that we talk about. You see a lot of optimism among people and a lot of conversations on AI. There's a lot going on here. So just so everyone understands, we are not in the World Economic Forum. It's called WEF. We are just outside in the outskirts of the WEF. It's a street called the Promenade, where all of the Amazon, Google, Hedera, all of these organizations are right there here. They have booths, pavilion, and you get to meet people. I mean, you get to meet everyone. Like the Microsoft CEO was here. We just met Kimball Musk. He was walking on the street. You see, actually, we just saw Fareed Zakaria from CNN. So it's beautiful, and you get to meet a lot of people, and everyone's very open. You just shake hands and talk to people, and I love it. Yeah.
Well, we saw Kimball Musk with Kamal from the Hashgraph Association yesterday.
Yes.
How's the Hedera presence look? What do the conversations around Web3 look like?
So let's go from Web3 first. So, I was here in 2018. I just want to give context to everyone. I was here in 2018, and that's when the crypto and blockchain, there was a lot of chatter then, and there was a lot that was going on in 2018. And then 1920, I saw that it was sort of waning down for multiple reasons. I see an emergence of excitement, and it's a different excitement. It's not about just the crypto and the prices of the crypto. It's about real applications. I mean, I've heard everyone. I was at GBBC. That's where many of the Hedera panels, including Lehman, was in GBBC, which is the Global Blockchain Council. And it was really exciting to see people not talk about applications, but actually show you how they're working. We had someone from the World Bank showing us how they tokenize promissory notes. This used to be a talk. So it's a very different time here. A lot of excitement on blockchain, a lot of excitement on AI, significant. You can't walk anywhere on the street without meeting someone who's talking about AI. And then how does blockchain and AI come together? So that's sort of the environment here. Hedera is kind of everywhere. There are multiple locations, and we've had everyone from Kamal, you're right. We had Lehman talk, we had Eric talk on multiple panels. So, and Wes, and I'm sure Sham was there. I think I tweeted. So we are really included and involved in almost every blockchain council or blockchain panels out here. But the conversations are really about tokenization. The conversations are about how we're going to utilize AI. And, Hedera seems to be in the midst of all of it. So I think it was really good we all came here. I think that was a perfect choice.
Hedera's leading in all those different narratives. But I want to get into what I think is the biggest announcement that I've seen come out of Davos so far this year, and it's coming from Dropp, your company. Can you tell us what you're doing with Truist Bank?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So if Brandon, if you don't mind, I just for people who are joining and don't know about Drop, I just want to give a couple of seconds. So Drop is a platform for instant payments, instant settlement. So Drop is a payment. So it's called a micro payment platform. It's meant, and our vision is to lower the cost of the transaction. Whether you are transferring US dollar or you're transferring crypto, we want to lower the cost of transaction. It's an alternative to credit card. We are really going after the instant settlement and ultra low cost. So to achieve that, we've done two things. We've been working with banks, we're leveraging the banking rails, and we're leveraging the distributed ledger, in this case is the Hedera, because that's the way you reduce the cost of a transaction, but you also have to make it instantaneous. So when it comes to crypto, everything is instantaneous, as you all know. But when it comes to banks, there's a new rail out there, a new API, new protocol called RTP, real-time payments. And this real-time payments is offered by an organization called the Clearing House, which also does ACH, right? So it's the same organization. So we've been leveraging RTP in our platform. So when merchant gets paid, they get paid instantly. For that, we had to work and collaborate with Truist. So we've been at it for a long time. For the last 6 months, we've been working on it. Today is a big day for us. It's a really big day for Drop. It should be also for Hedera. That we announced our partnership, I would say our collaboration, our effort, all of the work. This is step one in making the platform instantaneous, making the platform real time. There are multiple things that are going to happen, but this is step one. And we've been waiting to announce this. We got an approval 2 days back, and it just happened to be I was in Davos. So this is it's a great day for the Drop team. Kudos to the Drop team that we've been able to announce. Now we can go out. Brandon, what does it mean? Is we want to make the entire journey instantaneous and really cheap, right? So that instead of using a credit card, we could use something like Drop to make a payment, whether it's 1 cent or whether it's hundreds of dollars. We are focusing on the small business, small market thing. So it's a milestone. It's a very good milestone. I wouldn't say it's the last milestone. It's the milestone. We have other milestones that are going to come up in this year, and we'll announce it as we go. And Truist is the company with whom we are collaborating on this.
So, Sushil, we talk about credit cards, and credit cards, of course, are done on credit. So that means it's not instant settlement. What does instant settlement mean, and what is the impact that that's going to have on the industry?
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for the question. People use the word instant all the time. So that's why I use it. It didn't say instant payment. It's instant settlement. The issue is when a merchant accepts payment from you, when you tap that card or you write a check, the merchant gets the payment 7 days, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 3 days. Lately it's been a little faster. But they can never have it end of the day. They cannot have it right in that very second, right? So for the larger businesses, that's okay. But when you look at most of the small businesses, the cash flow is the most important aspect of it. So what this really does is optimizes cash flow. This is something that no one realizes. That most businesses work on margins, very low margins, and then they borrow money all the time. Even though they have receivables coming in, money is going to come in, but it's not there. Systems like Drop, and there's going to be multiple instant systems in the United States. They will take care of that cash optimization challenge, and then make it easier and easier for merchants to accept it. So when I make a payment right now in our system, a merchant could say, give that money to me instantaneously, settle it right now, or settle it end of the day, but not beyond end of the day. And we can do that, and we can do all of those things. So it gives us a lot more flexibility on what we can offer the merchant, and the merchant this is taking United States, US more towards instant settlement. Right now, we don't have much of an instant settlement. There's only RTP and the Fed now, which is coming up. And at some point, we'll also start putting Fed now in the system.
Understood. Now, what does it look like for the consumer at the point of sale? Is it going to look any different from the rails that they used before?
It's not going to look any different. And that is it's going to be less friction because they can just use a QR code, scan it. There's a point of sale. You'll see a point of sale, which will have a QR code. You scan it just the way you do it right now. If you're on a website, you will see a drop button. Click on it. It brings up your digital extension, which you have on your Chrome or your browser. Or if you have a if you have Dropp on your wallet, on your mobile, you can just scan it. So for the consumer, we make sure that there's less friction on the user experience, and that's critical. On the merchant side, they have to implement a pieces of the system that we build, or they should download the app. So it's not much of a work that they already do for credit cards. So I think the experience is going to remain the same. And I would say even it starts getting better, because as we deliver more products on RTP, the experience is going to be, you might not even have to upload money on your wallet to make a payment. It could happen instantly. That's the direction we are headed. So I would say it gives you an alternative method of payment and a cheaper payment method for the merchants. And so no, the experience is going to be, I would say, a lot better than what we have, or at least in part.
So, besides the instant settlement, for the benefit of the merchant, for the benefit of the consumer, what are the other benefits? Because I know that normally credit cards, they're going to put 1.5 to 3.5% right on top of whatever or take that right off the top of whatever that payment might be. What are the benefits as far as cost savings for the merchant? And then, of course, that could be potentially passed on to the consumer.
Credit card fees are anything from 3 to 5%, depending on what product you buy, depending on so there's almost like an implicit inflation in the market. Like everyone has increased their prices. So the real advantage, when you lower the cost, it lets the merchant not only make more money, they can actually go back and give you some of that. There's this concept of instant discounting in Dropp. When you make a payment, the merchant could say, hey, if you're using Dropp, I know you're paying by bank, I'll give you a discount around 5%. It happens all the time. You walk into a store and they say, if you don't use a credit card, pay cash. So this is like digital cash. So this then becomes like a significant benefit, and they don't have to deal with cash. So when a merchant comes in, you walk in there, you say, instead of cash, use Dropp. They don't have to use a card. They don't have cash, but they have Dropp. They can make a payment. The big advantage for the merchant there is they don't have to manage cash, because this goes directly into their bank account. So some of these benefits is only when you are a merchant, you see that I don't have to manage cash. I can get my 4% discount already, and I can transfer some of that. We've also built products in Dropp which let the merchant send you out a discount coupon, and it's not for the transaction, just the way you have offered. So you go to your local store, probably go there 10 times a week. There's no way for him to give you a discount other than a physical discount, like a physical coupon. So we built everything that a credit card network has in Dropp. So you have the same experience. You still get the reward points, you still get the coupons, and you get the benefit of a very low cost transaction. And it's instantaneous, which I don't want to forget that. That's the most important part. It's instantaneous. So the merchant has the money right away. Okay.
Understood. So just to explain to the viewers how big of a deal this is, I want to tell them who Truist Bank is. They might not be a household name to everyone, like maybe a Bank of America or JP Morgan, but they're a significant bank. Can you tell us a little about Truist?
Sure. So Truist used to be, they merged. It used to be SunTrust, another bank, and they merged. So it's not a household name, but you'll see it more and more. I think it's the 6th or the 7th largest bank, and I think it's the 7th largest bank, $1 trillion in assets. It's a huge bank. It's not JP Morgan, but it is it's a very big bank with lots of different products. So we are really excited, not just because of real-time payments. It's also exciting working with all the technology that this bank has, and they have a lot of different products, and we want to bring those products to Dropp, because not only for the consumer, but also for businesses who do treasury management, they do a lot of stuff. This might not help the consumer right away, but it really helps the merchant quite a bit. So working with a mature bank like Truist, it's a pretty old bank too. It's not a new bank. It's been there for a long period of time. So I think what we get maturity of their products, and then we can leverage many of this. RTP was one of those. And as I said, this is step A of the journey with real-time payments. There's a lot more that we're going to offer. We'll announce it as we get there. But it's a pretty big bag. They got it's more on the south, but you will now see in New York, New Jersey, you start seeing Truist brands everywhere there.
We have a Truist bank just down the street, so we know that they're popping up. It might be a new name, but like you said, it's not a new bank. So the next thing I want to touch on, as an HBAR, we're going to get the question of when. So the collaboration has been announced at this point, but when do we expect this to actually start to impact the Hedera network?
So, folks, the technology is already there. We were waiting, and the reason I'm excited, of course, you're always excited when you make an announcement, but I'm excited because we've been waiting. It's been a while since we're waiting for this announcement. We already have real-time payments. So if you sign up with us right now, right, as a merchant, you can get that instant payment right away. So we have that. Now that we've announced it, now more and more merchants know about this. You will start seeing more and more transactions on the Hedera networks. Now, in Hedera, we use two technologies. We use SDS and SCS. So you will start seeing the transaction. It takes a while before the adoption starts, but this is a very good start for us. Announcing that you have a product is step 8 before you start growing the market. So we have starting today, we'll start putting more FAQs on our website as to how to utilize the RTP and all of that. But we look forward to the adoption of RTP and of real-time payments and Dropp. And that should definitely help Hedera too.
All right, so merchants out there, you hear them, go ahead and check it out. You're going to save money, you're going to save time, you're going to make things more efficient. Sushil, is there anything else you'd like to pass on?
Yes, definitely. We've always been excited about Hedera. We have Dragon Glass, we have now Dropp. We've utilized almost every API that Hedera has, right, from NFT to smart contract. It is a system that's a lot easy to use compared to some of the other blockchains if you utilize them. It's just an API and you just use it and it works very well. So we are really excited both for the bank, right? Because they have a real-time product that's now through Dropp, people can use it. Really excited about Hedera. And I think I'm excited for Dropp too, because this announcement we've been waiting to announce this for a while. I think I had mentioned this several times, but I couldn't announce it for legal reasons. I'm looking forward to merchants, and I got to tell you, Brandon, I'm also looking for people who want to invest in Dropp. I wanted this announcement to go out before I could reach out to investors and say, we're ready now. I mean, we got the technology, and it's an excellent start with an excellent bank, a very innovative bank, which has taken a forward step in building real-time payments. In our announcement, we had the head of Treasury, Chris Ward, give us a pretty good code. But he was the person who was really interested in Dropp. When he saw the Dropp platform, he said, wow, I know it does crypto, but it really can be helpful to bring real-time payments right under the street. Right now, real-time payments is online billing. What we're trying to do is bring RTP right to the common person who can actually use it. So I'm very excited about it, as you can see.
Oh, you should be excited about it, Sushil. Well, congratulations, and thank you so much for hopping on here today and telling us about your latest announcement directly from Davos.
It worked out very well, and I hope you guys can see it. It is a beautiful sunny day. It's not always sunny, and it's not always beautiful, just because of the rain and the snow, but it's just very nice. And today is sort of the last day. By tomorrow, we'll start packing up, and we'll be heading back. But it's been a very exciting journey here. It's been exciting for me. And thank you very much, Brandon.
Absolutely. Thanks again. So it's always great to talk to Sushil, but it's not just Dropp. We saw Kamal from the Hashgraph Association, who's also making an impact there in Davos. He was honored at the USA House. I'm not sure if that's referencing a teamed up house for American tokens, which HBAR is included in, but either way, it seems like the place to be. As Sushil noted, Kamal was also spotted with Musk, not Elon, but his brother Kimball at the house. So we'll get into the news around the strategic reserve, and of course with Trump's America First initiative, it's not surprising that U.S. tokens are catching a pretty good bid here. With these U.S.-founded tokens gaining so much attention, the crypto tracking sites are taking notice and making adjustments. Both CoinMarketCap.com and CoinGecko both have U.S. token tracking pages, and HBAR is on the top 10 on that list. Just another example of how things are changing in the crypto space following the election of Donald Trump. Who would have thought that it would be an asset to be founded in the US? But Trump just followed through with an executive order focused on crypto and established a working group to focus on the industry. One of the most talked about sections of the executive order stated, the working group shall evaluate the potential creation and maintenance of a national digital asset stockpile and propose criteria for establishing such a stockpile. Mark Yusko, the CEO and CIO of Morgan Creek Capital, had some interesting things to say on the subject and did mention HBAR.
There's a lot of talk that they'll expand beyond just Bitcoin to now, XRP and Cardano and Hedera. And look, those founders have been buddying up to the administration and to Eric, and I think Eric's driving a lot of this, his son. So we'll see.
Before we move overseas, we're going to talk about one of the HBAR Foundation board members who used to be one of the top regulators in the United States, the comptroller of the currency, and he actually got a new position in the crypto space. He's been added to the board of Michael Saylor's company, MicroStrategy, so a big congrats to Brian on that, and we hope he can black pill the Orange Pill Pro. And now we're going to move off the U.S. We're going to go over to Japan. Ryan Solomon of Genfinity found some information that the SBI Group is planning on expanding its services for HBAR. The SBI Group is a financial services company in Japan, and their subsidiary SBI VC Trade offers crypto services, and we found out today that they're going to be expanding their services in the Hedera ecosystem to support HBAR lending. And the official announcement on the HBAR lending came almost a full day after Ryan and Genfinity reported on it. So give those guys a follow if you want to stay up to date on HBAR Alpha. We know how important the Japanese and Korean markets are for the crypto space, so seeing developments like this are absolutely fantastic. So now we're going to go over to Shark Bites. It's been a while since we had Rob on. Now, this isn't the full Shark Bites. I'm just taking a few of the questions. It's about 15 minutes long. We have about 40 minutes in the full Shark Bites, and I'm going to post that one on Sunday. But for now, let's see what Rob has to say. Rob, welcome back. You feeling refreshed, ready to go?
Yeah, happy New Year. It's been a little while, but this is going to be such a great year. So I'm pumped, I'm refreshed, and I'm raring to go.
Well, we're off to a good start. I think things are looking bright, and we have pretty big news hitting on a regular basis, but we also have a lot of questions. Matt HBAR says, the token release schedule has been updated. Any details about the use of these funds? What will happen if we get to 100% release before the network is sustainable by itself? I think this is a great question.
It does. I'll come to the second part of the question just to clarify a few things. So the Treasury Management Report gets released every quarter, I think. And it updates the allocation from the HBAR Treasury. So we don't talk about circulating supply from a governing council perspective because this is largely subjective in the Web3 space, and and circulating supply and its kind of lead into things like market cap or coin market cap type calculations is not consistent. However, it's not consistent across all of the chains and what is meant by circulation. So we tend to talk about allocated and unallocated supply of HBAR from the Treasury, and then released supply and unreleased supply within the allocated supply. So what we've increased, and mostly because of this governance reform that we've gone through with Charles moving to the foundation and the allocation of HBAR as part of that move. So allocating HBAR is about earmarking it from the unallocated supply and then releasing it, which is what happens when the ecosystem partners, such as the Foundation, Hashgraph Association, Hashgraph itself, use that allocated supply and release it, to pay for salaries or to provide grants or to, do whatever else it has been agreed that they're going to use it for. So the released element is what could be considered akin to circulating supply. That's kind of clear. And according to the most recent Treasury Management Report, we have almost all the HBAR Treasury allocated, i.e. earmarked for particular tasks, which may be 10 years hence. I understand the foundation has, large reserves of what has been previously allocated as well. So, there are, just because these allocations have been made doesn't mean they've been spent, and therefore, there's no dilutive effect. It's just that it's been kind of put into different pots and will be then distributed subsequently. So we are a very long way from a full release, full distribution, which is what I think the questioner was alluding to. So, when all of the HBAR has been distributed and released and, is in wider circulation, we're ways off that. Even at 5 cents, we were years away. And now, between 30 and 40 cents, and then potentially, in the very near future, higher, that extends that runway by, significantly. So it is true to say we have to be completely, I guess, revenue generating and as a network, and we have to have massive usage, and I believe that is coming. So like I said, we've got years. It's not something that we ignore at all. We've got sufficient runway to get to that point where Hedera's flying. We've got revenue and usages through the stratosphere, and I'm not particularly worried about that at all.
I have two from NASA asking, first, do you expect a full governing council by the end of the year? We've already talked about that, but I think it's good to address again. People are interested in it, so might as well hit it up again. And second, he states, the governing council minutes are taking too long to be published. What happened? Wow, they're demanding out here, Rob. But
I think if one makes promises, then if you can't follow through, then it's legitimate to respond to the questions, and the minutes haven't been. I think the minutes from September and October are about to be released. There was some delays on getting them signed off. So the process is always the minutes of a governing council meeting are circulated in draft and then brought to a subsequent governing council meeting for approval. If there's quorum, then it's done there. If there is no quorum, then it's done via an e-ballot. So September and October, I think, have just achieved that and will be released it's usually within 30 days of that being achieved. And then we've got November and December, which I believe is coming to the council for approval. So, the minutes will be released imminently for those that have been approved and signed off. In terms of the governing council, well, it's a perennial question. I'm always called out on it. I was called out on it last week on X for something I don't think I said, but just to be very clear, we're in sight of filling the council. We've got a very strong pipeline. There are some great candidates in that pipeline, but the timing of the announcements are completely out of our hands because our market integrity policy requires us not to know these things. But the process is MEMCOM does all the heavy lifting and preparatory work and interviews. They if the potential governing council member wants to proceed past that, MEMCOM votes and provides recommendations to the governing council, which then comes to the next governing council for a vote. Once the vote has been made, then that member has to fulfill a number of obligations and is in entire control of the timing of the announcement because they're almost all exchange-listed businesses, and therefore market reporting has to be tightly controlled for them. So they do that. And are we going to fill it in 2025? The MEMCOM
You said you were hopeful. We heard it.
The MEMCOM leadership is standing by its strong pipeline, and I fully anticipate us being there or very close to being there in 2025. Yeah. You heard it here first.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. All right. So HBAR Al says, what are the plans considering regulations coming? Are there any specific actions taken by Hedera? So because this regulatory environment has changed, has that changed the posture or how you're discussing things in the council?
Yeah, I mean, the risk posture has changed. It's been changing for a year. we took advice in Singapore over a year ago that advised that things like our super risk averse risk posture vis-a-vis the old guard and the SEC and Gary Gensler, may he rest in peace, has changed. And so for most of last year, this is with in conjunction with Charles coming in and Charles, advising from a Web3 perspective, a more retail perspective, that things can and should change over time. Obviously, now a lot of that has been enacted. We've got Charles leading the new foundation with a new remit. We talked earlier about sentiment change in the focus, or a pivot towards a greater level of focus on retail and the retail ecosystem, and that's all largely because of not regulatory clarity, because we don't have that yet, but a softening of in particular the US regulatory stance. In addition to that, we've got MICA in Europe. We've got stronger and clearer regulation across the world, in particular in Singapore and Hong Kong, UK. So, the world is moving towards that. And of course, all of our governing council members are, operate within that world, and those who are more progressive in terms of looking at the Web3 space and tokenization are definitely evolving both their perspective and their plans. The governing council as a whole is, we've got the great work that Nilmeni Rubin does on Capitol Hill and in DC and in advising us through the governing council in particular and the board, the Hedera board specifically. All of that changes our outlook all the time, and so this isn't an introverted organization. It's a very progressive organization that has to operate within the real world, within lots of risk structures that have to be considered. But absolutely, the governing council as a whole are more informed and the governing council voted on Charles's plan, which included him moving to the foundation and taking this greater retail outlook. So, we're entirely behind and very, very supportive of what that means in terms of the increased decentralization of the Hedera ecosystem and the adoption of a far greater retail focus.
Understood. So this is hard for me to say, because I was kind of pushing for a more aggressive stance, but it does seem like, at least in some areas, it's paid off, that risk adverse stance that Hedera had taken for a while. I don't know if you caught the interview I did last week with Bloomberg Intelligence and Eric and everything around what's happening with the ETF, but they're saying that because HBAR didn't get caught up in, any of the lawsuits or anything like that, that we're in a lot better position now to potentially get an ETF before even things like Solana and XRP. So it has on some fronts paid off.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's a balance, isn't it? We can all speculate on where we would be if we had done something differently in the past, but we are where we are. I think we're in a very good position, like we said now, in terms of CoinMarketCap listing. We're in a cluster, right behind the leaders. So when I used to do my long distance running, that's where I like to position myself so that you can make a sprint for the line. If we can get that ETF in first, then everything changes. It really does. It will secure Hedera and HBAR as one of the preeminent cryptocurrencies in this entire space. So 2025 is going to be massive for Hedera, whatever happens.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so the last one comes from Hedarian, who says, this has been a strange beginning towards crypto regulation from the Trump empire. Did the Hedera team foresee this kind of behavior? Rob, I don't think anybody could have foreseen this kind of behavior. But Hedarian says, I'm now wondering how World Liberty Financial will play out. Who will benefit and who's pulling the strings? Now, Rob, I know that you probably don't have the inside track on all this kind of stuff, but you have been watching what's been going on lately. What are your thoughts?
Well, how can you not be watching? It's just incredible. I mean, the last few days, because we're recording on day 2, so the inauguration day was yesterday. I haven't even completed reading through all the executive orders that were signed in public overnight. So yeah, I mean, I really don't know. For the Trump family to be issuing meme coins 3 days before inauguration and then, playing the market and flexing like that is just on another level. So let's see. I mean, it certainly legitimizes meme coins, I think.
Could we have expected anything less? I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff. I hope they use some of the proceeds for some good causes out there. I think it would win them some political capital, because everybody thinks it's just a cash grab. I'm hoping that that's not the case. But it also throws an awful lot of cover for all the legitimate things out there. As long as it doesn't blow up too bad, I think we have a lot of good things ahead of us.
Yeah, I think just expect the unexpected with this new administration. And whatever happens, we've got a very, very different administration now with vis-a-vis the Web3 space. So those of us who have been around for a long time and have been quietly pushing forward, I think, are going to have a very good year.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. All right, Rob, that's all we have for you today. We appreciate everybody giving us your questions. If you have any additional questions on the Hedera ecosystem or the HBAR economy, go ahead and drop those down below. And Rob, we'll see you next week.
Thanks very much, Brandon. Great to be back.
So obviously, we're super happy to have Rob back. And like I said, we're going to have that full episode of Shark Bites on Sunday, so certainly check that one out. Next, we're going to move on to Hello Future DAO. Hello Future DAO was initially established by Elizabeth Chase, an HBAR who unfortunately we lost in December, but Hello Future DAO lives on. And a really interesting feature that they just launched is the Hello Future DAO calendar. So if you have a big event, an NFT launch, or any kind of announcement that you want to make, and you want to put it on this calendar, you can go head to their site and add whatever you have going on. So hopefully everybody in the Hedera ecosystem is aware of what you have going on. I love initiatives like this, and it's really good to see the Hello Future DAO living on. All right, so now we're going to shift gears here. We're going to go back to the Hashgraph Association and talk about a partnership they just announced with Taurus. We found out this week that the Hashgraph Association has partnered with Taurus, a digital asset management firm, to enhance HBAR custody and staking specifically for financial institutions. Taurus is a Swiss fintech founded in April of 2018, so they've been around for a little while, and they provide enterprise-grade digital asset infrastructure solutions to issue, custody, and trade any digital assets. Now we have an interview with Manu from Kabila and Ed from Hashgraph to talk about some exciting new tooling we have for developers that are entering the Hedera space. All right, so we have some special guests here today. They're going to be talking about a collaboration that they've done together, but I'm just excited to talk to these guys. They're some of my favorite people in the space. Guys, Ed, Manu, welcome.
Thanks, Brandon. It's a pleasure to be here once again.
Likewise. Hello, Brendan, Manu. Pleasure to be here with you both.
All right, so before we jump into exactly why we're here today, I am curious, as the HBAR economy is doing better, it's expanding, I'm kind of curious how different businesses in our ecosystem are doing. Manu, how have things changed now that the HBAR economy is kind of taking off? How's this bull market treating you so far?
Well, the product side, I think everything remains the same. Like, we keep pushing, we keep developing with our roadmap. I would say that this has somehow accelerated, or like everything we were doing, because now there's a lot of liquidity, there's a lot of attention. We've already seen like all products, the wallet, the market, the tools, the plazas, they're already increasing in traffic, and it's been beautiful to see after that initial pump. So price is somehow driving attention and awareness, And I think that is already benefiting Kabila in that sense. Of course, we launched the utility token, KBL token, back in November. We did the pre-sale and then the TG on December. And of course, that liquidity is also helping us, fundraise somehow, get more liquidity to develop. So, more is better in terms of liquidity. So yeah, happy to see this happening.
No question about that. So now let's jump into one of your new products. You're launching, or you've launched a new product called the Hedera Developers Playground. What are its goals?
So this was a collaboration with Hashref. Hashref approached us with this idea of improving the developer experience, the onboarding experience for anyone that is, joining the ecosystem and wants to start tinkering with the coding before installing, anything in their desktops or having to do, any, further steps. So it was a very good idea. We loved it. Like in terms of we are developing, we've been using the Hedera SDK, the Hedera services. So Hedera is already an amazing place for a developer that is coming to Web3. But this was even like, okay, how we can even bring this, and make it even better. So the developer experience is that it's a way of just coding within the browser. So it's a very quick way to iterate, to try ideas, to learn about the different services. It's very intuitive. So this was an idea that we loved, and we've been partnering with Hashref to bring that developer services to make it happen. So hopefully this will help even bring more people to the ecosystem.
Well, it's all about the developers. Now, Ed, as Manu mentioned, you're collaborating on this. What do you envision for this product?
So I envision subsequent improvements to this initial iteration of the playground. Today, the playground is going to be extremely helpful for those developers who are looking to get started with Web3. Hedera, as Manu mentioned, is a great place to get started because we have familiar languages for traditional Web2 developers, languages like Java, JavaScript, and Go. And so the playground is going to start by supporting two of the most popular languages, which are JavaScript and Java. And then for Web3 developers, it's also a great place to quickly iterate, build ideas, and try, different approaches or strategies on a browser without installing anything. And so coming up, in subsequent iterations of this playground, we want to see how we can make that onboarding process for Solidity developers, how we can add more languages, perhaps how we can add artificial intelligence layers on top of this playground to really make it core part of that developer onboarding experience and make it feel frictionless, make it something natural that is just on a browser, that is very intuitive, easy to follow, easy to try, and helps developers accomplish and get things done more easily.
Sounds good. All right, Manu, well, why don't you just kind of walk us through the platform a little bit and we'll just take a look.
Definitely. So here's where we will be seeing, the developer playground. So the first things that we have here are there are services. So for example, we can switch between, the Hedera consensus services and have, a quick look of the different functions that we have here, the Hedera token service. So for example, let's say I want to launch an NFT collection. So I really want to see how the cuts looks like. So I would actually go create a token. And here you can, easily start looking at, okay, what are the different parameters that I will need to use? What is the token ID? So you can start tinkering. You can edit the code, you can write, you can delete. And once you have the code ready, you could execute. And if everything is ready, if everything's okay, then you will see, the output, and it will get you some ideas, quick ideas on very on different services on it. Well, for example, we have the smart contract services, and then you can, in an easy way, you can move from JavaScript to Java, and then of course you'll start again, and then you can just tinker with the whole playground. So this is basically.
Ed, the first thing that I'm kind of struck by when I'm looking at this is it's really in depth. There's all kinds of different things on each one of these services that you can get into.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I absolutely love about the playground is that it's integrated with the Hedera developer portal. So it's right there in the home that we have today for developers to open an account to get started. And it's a tool that is readily available for devs to start playing right away as they open their accounts. And in fact, one of the things that you see here is that anyone can access this, if they want to view and edit code. And then for that execution part, that's when you're prompted and invited to open that Hedera developer account so that it's all integrated from your credentials that you have already for your testnet. So a very easy way to just get started and get onboarded. And then once you're logged in, it's lovely because it also supports the two different types of keys that are supported in the Hedera ecosystem. Transitioning between those two key systems is very seamless. Same with the languages as Manu showed. And then support for all the Hedera services and even different utilities like scheduled transactions and additional code snippets that you can throw in there for your learning or for even experimenting and trying your best ideas.
I absolutely love it. So, Ed, I am going to change subjects here real quick because we do have some other Hedera events that are going on right now that I wanted to touch on. One being the latest Hedera hackathon, and the other one being HederaCon. Can you just run over those events real quick for us, just to give us the latest?
Absolutely. So the hackathon that you're referring to is something that is currently in the judging period. I had the chance to review a lot of those submissions that came in. And let me tell you that the quality is something that we're always impressed by. We're amazed by that. And me and my team had the pleasure to take a look at those. And we received submissions along all the different tracks that we had, a total of 8 tracks. And those submissions are currently with the judges. So we're waiting for that process to complete before we can announce the winners towards the end of this month, beginning of February. And so that was a hackathon that took about 6 weeks of hacking from November to December, and it focused on tracks like AI and data integrity, tokenization, DeFi, sustainability, privacy and data, decentralized identity, and a few other open tracks just to encourage creativity and also continuity from the previous hackathon. And so, yeah, I'm super excited to see what comes out of this. We certainly have participants from the previous hackathon that we had earlier this year and a lot of new participants as well. So these hackathons are a great opportunity for devs to discover Hedera, evaluate it, try it out, build something compelling, and hopefully stay within the ecosystem as you know, we welcome those new devs as well.
Yeah, some of the things that came out of the last hackathon were really innovative, and I don't expect anything less for this one. So the next thing we wanted to touch on was HederaCon coming up in just a few weeks. It's going to be the first broad-scale conference that we've had since 2018 as far as the Hedera ecosystem. Can you tell us a little about that?
That's right. Super excited about that. You know, align very much with ETH Denver. So there will be thousands of developers there for ETH Denver. So we see this as a great opportunity to also bring a lot of people to this Hedera event. So it's going to be on February 25th. And so you can go on the website, find the information about the event, and register for that. So it's going to be a fantastic event because it's going to have 2 tracks, one for thought leadership. There's going to be panels on various topics relevant to our field and our industry, areas like tokenization, sustainability, AI, and much more. And there's going to be a dedicated track for developers as well, where we're going to cover what is new in Hedera from the innovation perspective. We're going to touch on topics like block nodes, EVM, and tokenization, and much more for devs as well. And there's going to be opportunities for interfacing with our developers, interfacing with our technical staff. So, you know, if you have feedback, if you have questions, those are topics that we can cover while we're there at that event. And of course, it's going to be a great opportunity to connect with the community. You know, we're going to have a very strong community presence. I know projects like Kabila, many others are going to be present, and I think it's going to be an absolute blast having that in-person event happening there in Denver.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch. Manu, you're going to be there. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we've been building for almost 3 years, on Hedera for almost 4 years. We've been talking with so many people. It's like friends, but we haven't met yet, you know, in real life. So the first thing to me is, you know, meeting people in real life. I think there are so many companies and guys and people that we're looking forward to meet. And then as Ed was mentioning, I think it would be a very interesting event to, you know, network and, you know, meet other people, meet other players, and show what we're doing at Kabila, at Hedera. Because I think, again, we always say that once people use Hedera and once people start using the network, it's very, very hard to look back. So hopefully we can bring and onboard some of the new devs.
Couldn't agree more. There's so many people that, you know, I haven't met before that are going to be there. Rob Allen is a great example. I talk to him pretty much every week, but I haven't gotten to meet him yet. So I'm going to have that opportunity coming up. So I do want to give you guys an opportunity to pass on anything else that we might not have touched on. Manu, I'll let you go first.
Well, we keep building. We see today, we saw that, what these last days we saw, the Trump coin going live. Listen, you can take it however you want, but this is the future. Like we see personal brands creators, politicians, they will be tokenizing their brands. They will be doing a lot of stuff, and NFTs and tokens will play a big role. So we think this is the future. It can be done, better or worse, but this is definitely where we are headed to. So hopefully we can tokenize a lot of brands, a lot of trades on Hedera, and we do it the right way. So yeah, looking forward to do that and helping many creators with Kabila.
Absolutely. And I am going to be working with Kabila here coming up to kind of tokenize my own brand to allow me to continue to create content in the space. So I appreciate all the help that you're going to be giving to me here in the weeks to come. Ed, I'm going to give you the last word here. Anything else you'd like to pass on?
Absolutely. In the short term, I want to highlight the community call that is coming up next week. So we're going to cover a variety of great topics. Be sure to tune in for that to get those updates. Going back to ETH Denver, HederaCon, we're going to have for developers fantastic bounties and challenges for people to build. We're going to have things that are going to be beginner friendly, things that are going to be focused on EVM developers, and of course, AI and agents, which is a fantastic topic today, in this day and age to build towards on Hedera. And so want to encourage people, if they're going to be there, if they're developers, that's a great opportunity to build very compelling solutions. More longer term, midterm and long term, looking at this year, I'm very excited for the opportunities that I see ahead. Internally, one of the things that we've said is the stars are very much aligned for the whole industry and for the whole ecosystem to have a fantastic year, right? We have all these aligned trends like artificial intelligence, like tokenization, like Web3 and blockchain entering the spotlight once more with hopefully, what will be clearer regulation in jurisdictions like the US and, so much more that can bring a lot of adoption into the work that we do in this industry. So I'm very excited for the year ahead, and hopefully we can focus on building and speeding up that process.
Well said. Guys, thank you so much for hopping on here today, and good luck with everything you're doing with the Hedera Developers Playground.
Thanks a lot, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon.
And now into some fun stuff. We have Karate Combat 52 coming up in just a few hours, and I'm going to be doing a live stream that's going to be done through the KC Social app. Go ahead and get that app. It's powered by Galaxy. You can listen in and have a party with us. Actually, if anybody wants to hop on that live stream and talk about the fights with us at all, you can go ahead and reply to me on X, and we'll see if we can get you in there. The Karate Combat 52 card is an absolute banger. There are a lot of really exciting matchups here, and I have a feeling if it's like any of the other Karate Combat events, most of these fights are not going to go the full scheduled time because there's going to be some nasty knockouts. All right, so we're going to go from sports over to meme coins. We welcome on the show the Gib Father. He is the creator of the Hedera meme coin Gib, one of the top meme coins in Hedera to be created with memejob.fun. So let's check it out. Welcome. Thanks for hopping on today.
Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm going to get right into the questions here. So to kick it off, what was the experience like of creating a meme token on Hedera and memejob.fun?
It was quite chaotic at the time. There was a lot of things launching simultaneously. It was like a bit of a gold rush, but it was relatively smooth. If you've ever played with Pump Fun, you can just upload a token, icon, name it, and basically just launch it. Off you go. So kudos to the Hedera starter team.
Yeah, they've done a great job. How long after memejob.fun launched did you actually launch Gib?
I think it may have been a day into it, possibly. A day? Yeah, I kind of missed it. I'm based in Australia, so I miss a lot of stuff when it launches and whatnot.
So pretty early. All right, so now tell us about Gib. What is it and how did you come up with it?
Gib is a meme. It's basically a meme that's older than Hedera. It started in 2011 or 2012 when Valve had a game called Dota 2, which is still out today. And they used to run annual events, this event being Dorotide, which was a Halloween event. And they ended up cancelling it. So the gamers, the entitled bunch they can be sometimes, they just swarm to the internet with little Gibs on every post you can imagine, from Obama's post to Volvo on Twitter.
You're saying this was a meme that already existed. Are there other meme tokens out there on other networks, or is this original?
This is not completely original, as it was a meme previously. I did believe somebody tried to launch it on Solana, and it was not successful. And I think it was on Pump Fun as well. So if you check that token out, I think it's about 6K liquidity at the moment. So like anything, it's timing and luck, I think.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Right now, I think you are number 3 on the central memejob.fun market cap list. Overall, of course, Grelf is in there as well, so that puts you at number 4, but you're one of the top tokens regardless. What do you think it takes to run a successful meme token on Hedera or in general?
I think preparation is pretty key. You've definitely got to have the memes. If it's a meme token, you've got to have memes. If you don't have memes, you don't really have much of anything. And then you also got to build up your community, which is very important. Get them involved. Once they start making memes themselves, it kind of perpetuates even more memes and encourages others to create more content and just absolutely swarm the timeline and tag everybody and whatnot. It's kind of like a viral thing.
So how successful have you been thus far as getting your community to throw memes out there? I know that you're putting out memes on a fairly regular basis, but I've seen a fair amount of other ones as well. Is that going fairly well?
Yeah, it's going good. The community members have started making tools to make memes now. Yeah, it's pretty
What's
cool.
that look like?
Basically, just grab the GIBs and you click and drag. So shout out to Cap for making that one. And then also we've got Blank Paper, who's been making one where you can turn any image into ASCII, an ASCII image with GIB eyes as like representation of the image, which is also pretty cool. So people have already started building things, which is pretty cool.
So not just the memes, but they're actually coming up with tools for you. How do you plan on keeping that going? The sustainability of the project. How do you keep your community engaged?
You got to show up every day. It's not for the faint of hearted. You can launch a meme coin, but you've got to follow through with with your community and keeping them informed. Like anything, communication is key, I think, in any industry. Another thing we have coming is GIB Chat, which will be hopefully at the end of the week, which will be like a companion AI chat bot, which users or projects can embed on their website, and users can chat to it and basically learn more about the Hedera network in a little bit more of an organic fashion and more fun fashion too.
Oh, that's very cool. So before we let you go, you've gone through and answered my questions here pretty quickly. Is there anything else you'd like to pass on?
No, I love what you're doing, Brandon. I hope you get to stick around and keep doing it. We'd hate to lose you in the HBAR community.
Oh, I don't think I'm going anywhere. It seems like I'm having some success. I'm not going to launch a meme coiner. I'm not planning on doing that right now, but I do have plans to launch an NFT series. Hopefully that'll keep me around for a little while, so keep an eye out for that. But either way, I appreciate you hopping on here today and telling us about GIB.
Thank you.
All right, with that, let's take a look at what's going on the Hedera network and in the HBAR market. We're seeing a slight creep up in transaction volume, but nothing like what we saw when Atom.io was online. This week, there were 1.2 million smart contract calls, 44,000 accounts created, 750,000 NFT transfers, and 18,000 fungible token transfers. Now let's look at the HBAR and crypto markets. We had a nice run up at the end of last week for HBAR, but we gave up some, but not all of those gains, mainly because of the Trump coin brouhaha. Capital flowed from all over the crypto space into Solana, where the Trump coin was minted, and then into the new president's official meme coin. This hit almost everything that wasn't called Trump or Solana. Trump started to compete with HBAR, which is still sitting at number 15 on the CoinMarketCap list, but then it started falling when an official First Lady coin dropped as well, kind of showing that team doesn't understand everything that's going on in DGen's heads. Trump is currently sitting at number 25. Crypto was all over the place this week. When bullish news hit, it wasn't perceived as bullish enough, but overall, we still appear to be in a great spot. Bitcoin is up slightly on the day and the week, sitting at $106,000. HBAR is down 10% on the week, but up 6% on the day, and at the time of recording is between 33 and 34 cents. I think that recent low at 31 cents is setting up as constructive support, and like I said last week, if we head north again, 40 cents is going to be pretty important. Looking into the week to come, as I mentioned, tonight we're going to be doing that live stream for Karate Combat 52 on KC Social, so stop by, have a beer, watch the fights. It's going to be an absolute blast. On Sunday, we're going to post the rest of that Shark Bites episode. Rob has some more knowledge to drop on you. I'm also thinking about doing a space to talk about the bull barbarians. Anybody that follows me on X will probably know what I'm talking about, or at least I've been teasing about it just a little bit. I'm also going to have next week Jay Cool, one of the developers from Hashgraph, to talk about some of the cool stuff he has going on. And finally, I'm going to get Charles on to talk about Hedera 2.0. Of course, Charles is the new CEO at the Hedera Foundation, formerly the HBAR Foundation, and I know a lot of people are curious about that. That's pretty much all we have. We'll see you next week.